Welcome back to another Modified Rides podcast. Today, I have one of the OG Texas guys on. You may have heard of him. He's been an OG in the scene for a minute. Today, I have Ricky Holly. What's up, Ricky?
How's it going, Brandon?
We've been trying to link up for a little bit on this. I know you've built some hellacious builds over your, I guess you'd say, career.
Well, appreciate it. A few of them.
So I guess let's like I always do. I'll start back at the beginning. What got you into custom vehicles?
Well, when I was little, my dad he used to do van shows back in the day.
Okay.
So we used to go to van shows all over, me and my brothers, and that's really what got us started. And then after that, he got into racing cars, so we started racing cars. Well, he started racing cars, and we just used to go with him all over.
Did he ever put you to work, making you work on the race cars? And
yeah, as far as like getting them lined up to do burnouts, putting the water down. We had to go pick them up with the 3-wheeler and bring them back after he made a pass.
Well, that's where you're going old school and say bring it back with the 3-wheeler.
Yep.
The kids don't know about those death traps.
It was 3-wheelers before 4-wheelers.
We've all rolled a 3-wheeler one time or two.
Several times.
So so him having you in the custom vehicle world, the racing world, when did you first dabble into playing with vehicles yourself?
Probably when I turned about 19 is when I first started with doing custom.
What'd you do at first?
I had a Ford Mustang, believe it or not. That was my first car.
And what'd you do with that? I'm sure that's way different than what you do to one now.
Yeah, that was back in the days, I think, when Menace Society was out. And they had a little Mustang with the Daytons on it. So I put the Daytons on it, kind of made it look like that Mustang.
A convertible, I guess?
No, it actually was a hardtop.
Oh, was it? Gotcha. Well, when did that transition to you building high-end vehicles? Because you mentioned before we come on, it was you and your brother that everybody knew as the Holly Boys. So how did that aspect come about of being the Holly Boys?
We started messing with trucks, and then I built a 2000 Chevy. I had it painted at Alamo Customs, and it made the cover of Trucking Magazine, and that's kind of what started it right there.
What year was that? Do you remember?
Man, that was shucks. That was probably maybe 25 years ago.
Okay. So Alamo Customs was probably semi-new back then.
Yeah, they were just getting started back then.
Now, how did you link up with a shop like that that's become one of the top shops in the country now?
We met at a little show in Louisiana. He was building a new truck, and I had my truck that I had built. So we kind of got together a little bit, and we just met. And then a buddy of mine had got his truck painted from him, and he was trying to get a few ideas for his new truck. So we just hooked up, and we became friends. And I mean, we've been good friends ever since.
And I guess he's probably been involved with most of your builds over the years, hasn't he?
He actually's done every last one of them.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So run through some of the high end builds that you've done that's made publicity. So like you said, the one was a cover. So that was your first truck out was a cover.
Yeah, that was my first. Yeah, my first truck out was a cover. And then
did you have intentions of it being cover, or did you just right place, right time?
We were just building that one, to kind of go to a few shows and have fun with it.
So it wasn't planned like I'm going to go over the top and make this cover worthy. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it kind of started, but you know how the builds kind of spiral as you go a little further. We want to live further and a little further. Then let's add this, let's add that. And I think we debuted at Heatwave. And Dan Ward was the editor of Trucking back then.
Yep, I worked for Dan. Dan actually gave me my very first cover on Trucking.
Yep, me too.
That was the let's see, what was that? I don't even remember. February 05 issue. I got it hanging here in the office. So Dan,
I got my cover right over there. I think on top of a cabinet or something. My old cover.
Yeah. Dan, when I first started shooting, I started shooting for street trucks. The first show I covered for street trucks, I got introduced to Dan, and he was, I want to say, feature editor or something before he became editor.
Yeah, really nice guy.
And I got introduced to him. Like I said, he's the one that gave me that first cover spot with one of my photos. So, So what happened after that truck? Where did your love for the trucks go? Did you just immediately start building back to back?
Yeah, and then I always wanted a C10. So I found a 67 C10, and we built that truck, and we actually kind of went way overboard on that truck. We did a tilt front hood, we did a tilt bed, we did suicide doors, and actually that truck made cover for trucking also.
And that was also 20 plus years ago.
Yeah, that was probably 20 years ago.
What was the name of that truck?
I never really named that truck. I
Really?
never named that truck.
How long did you show it?
Probably about 2 years. About 2 years.
And then just on to the next?
Yeah. Then after that truck, I got the K5 Blazer, and then that's when we did Charlie Brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is to this date probably the sickest K5 Blazer I think ever built.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
It's still around now.
You built it. It was later in the game when you built it, didn't you?
That truck is probably, man, that's at least 10, 12 years old.
So there was what would you do between that first C10 you built and that Blazer? Did you have anything else in that time?
The Charlie Brown took a while. It took us like 4 years to build that truck.
Okay. And
Yeah,
Alamo
so
did the whole thing on that?
yeah, Alamo did that one also.
Yeah, that one. When I was picking colors and stuff for my Blazer, everybody's like, "Man, have you seen that Charlie Brown Blazer?" I'm like, "Yes, I've seen the Charlie Brown Blazer. It's been a favorite of mine for forever."
And
So
it actually got the cover of Street Trucks.
how did that come about? Because that one, I guess that was almost before the C10 craze really blew
Yeah.
up. So how did that rendition of that Blazer come about? Did you just let the guys at Alamo do what they wanted to do, or did you have a vision that you wanted to see done?
Yeah. I usually always get a render done before I actually built a truck. So I had a render done of it, and then we went at it. But
Because it had a ton of body work in it.
yeah, we chopped the camper top.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, we extended the windows on it, so the windows were bigger, and we did one piece of glass all the way around it. We actually leaned the pillars back, on the truck. So we did a lot of miles on that truck.
What made you want to get rid of that truck? You were just done with it at the time?
I mean, I think always just trying to do something better.
Now, who has that now?
It's actually in California right now.
Is Alex?
Yeah, well, no, I think Alex sold it to a guy in
Did he?
California, and
Okay.
actually the truck just got painted again at Alamo. It came back and they just painted it the same color again, but just touched it up.
Really?
Yeah,
I guess it needed a little love after being around for a while.
yeah, because that truck has been around for at least 12 years, at least 12 years.
I guess you had no inclination that when you first built that first truck for cover that you were going to be back-to-back covers with all these builds.
No, not at.
So I guess after that one, you did the
Grinch was after that one. Yeah,
which was also another cover, wasn't it?
it got a feature. It was supposed to get a cover, but when we did the photo shoot, it was storming, raining, so we had to do the photo shoot in like a little bitty garage. So the pictures didn't really come out that well. So it got a feature.
Who shot that one?
I forget the guy's name. I hate to even say that. I forget.
Well,
his name. Victor. Victor shot it.
Victor did.
Yeah.
Now, who did Charlie Brown? That was
I can't remember who shot that one.
that Johnny O did that one, didn't he?
Yeah. He did. Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny O kind of helped guide me in the photography direction when I first started doing this. He was one of the main influences in how I shoot, is because the way he would shoot.
Okay.
Like you can see his photos and know it's his.
Oh yeah, Johnny. Yeah. I remember him from way back in the day. So he been doing it a long time.
So with these back to back, did they all take as long as Charlie Brown did, or were you just knocking them out every year?
No,
at that point?
The Grinch actually probably took us like 11 months to do.
Okay, which is short,
like super
truck.
quick. We were trying to make SEMA.
Okay, did it make it?
Nope. we end up debuting at LST.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your first build you had at SEMA?
Actually, the first one that actually took the SEMA was Lolita.
Okay. I thought you'd had one before that.
Yeah.
Charlie Brown never made it?
No, we were supposed to go, but we didn't make it down. We didn't finish in time.
So when did you link up with Chris over at MTI? Because I know he's done some interiors, but did he do all of them for you?
No, I linked up with Chris on Lolita.
Okay.
We were trying to just make, go a step up, and me and Chris became good friends. So, we hooked up and the rest was history.
So after after the Grinch, then that's when you did Lolita, which is the truck that me and you met over.
Yeah.
So I hear all the people say, "Oh, it's a Blazer," or "No, it's a truck they made a unibody." So tell us the story behind Lolita, because that's been your newest project that I'd say has probably got a more, I guess, almost as much press as Charlie Brown did.
Lolita actually started off as a Blazer. So Lolita really was a Blazer. So I ended up getting another square body, and we took the cab and cut the cab, took the top half and the back half off of the donor truck and put it on the Blazer to make the
What
unibody
gave you
truck.
that idea to do?
We wanted to try to do a unibody, and then Robert came up with that idea. Well, let's just cut half of another truck and put it on this truck.
I guess that was easier than trying to weld a bed to a cab. And
Yeah, because they usually crack, and stuff flex. So if you
yeah.
already got a unibody, it makes it a lot easier.
So that truck, I guess, had a ton of work in it. Still to this date, probably one of my favorite C10s out there. The
Thank you.
attention to detail was just ridiculous in it. So
Yeah.
tell us some of the stuff that you did to it.
Well, of course we did the unibody.
Yeah.
That was like just the super hard mod. We did, everything pretty much basically underneath it in the interior. Under the hood, everything was pretty much custom all the way
So
through.
I guess when he welded the back wall in there, I guess he welded the whole back wall into the tub of the Blazer itself.
Yes.
So I guess that's why it actually probably looks a little different, is because it's a different wheelbase. Because aren't the Blazers a shorter
No,
wheelbase?
we actually extended it to make it
Did you?
Yeah, so it is the exact length of a square body truck.
So you just did the frame off of a
Yeah, we got an
truck?
Acme chassis, and we had
Okay.
them build us the regular frame for a square body truck, not the
So
Blazer.
then you just had to shift the rear fenders and back and
rear
everything.
fenders, yeah.
That truck though, like I said, the attention to detail, the way the body and everything fits. I guess the guys at Alamo, they've created that niche of doing that kind of vehicles.
Yeah.
Because I guess they do a lot of vehicles like that other than just yours.
Yeah, they do a lot of one-off customs now. That's basically what they do now. He pretty much only does custom. He used to do custom and collision, but he sold the collision side, so he only focuses on the custom now.
It's usually the other way around. Most shops try to do both and go into collision because that's where the money's at.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. But
because I guess you have so much time tied up in custom stuff.
Yeah, and I think his passion was in custom work. So he wanted to do what he been wanting to do the custom. So he got out of the collision, and so he just focusing straight on custom now.
How long did y'all work on Lolita?
Lolita probably took close to 2 years to do.
Which is still in the truck world, still semi quick.
Yeah, real time working probably a year.
Of course, you can't have just one vehicle in the shop and pay the bills. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or you can't keep funding the bills if he's just working on yours. So I know you kind of broke the internet when you got rid of Lolita. It was everybody talking about how it, sold at auction and all that. And I feel you got robbed on it. I figure you should have got way more than that out of it. But what made you decide to go that route and do an auction? Because you didn't sell your other trucks at an auction like that, did you?
No, I always sold those from person to person.
Yeah.
But they always went to the auction and ended up getting more than I got at the auction.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it myself.
Cut out the middleman.
Yeah.
So what did you think you would pull off of that based on what the other C10s were going for?
I was thinking probably about 150.
Okay.
Yeah. So it actually went 187. So which I was good with that.
Which I'm sure you had well more than that in it.
The sponsors I made money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sponsors make a big difference.
Yeah. Now if I had to come out of pocket, yeah. But with the sponsors, I was happy.
I've got a spreadsheet of everything on the Blazer I'm doing. It's like I couldn't imagine trying to come out of pocket for all these parts. Yeah. Not even just labor, but just parts are six figures.
Yeah, you'll easily hit 250 on a truck.
Yeah, easy. So once you let that go, did you plan to do the C10 that you're playing with now, or is that just I just
That
need something to
was
play with?
just something that happened. I actually bought it to sell it, but when I bought it, I was like, man, this is pretty cool. Because I ain't really just never had nothing I can just cruise around, not worry about. And I bought this one, I said, okay, I'm gonna drive a little bit. Then one thing led to another. I added the wheel with brakes. I added the vintage air. I mean, I pretty much redone that whole truck, which wasn't the plan, but it ended up
Yeah.
happening that way.
So you had it all repainted and everything.
Well, I didn't paint it, but I changed all the windows. I changed all the trim. I changed headlights, taillights, front bumper, rear bumper.
So it was already a project when you got it.
It was a running, driving truck. It
I
was
was saying it was
actually,
already somebody already put work into it.
yeah, it was complete from his standpoint. But when I got it, I was like, I'm gonna clean it up a little bit.
Did he realize who he sold it to and realized it wouldn't stay that way long?
Yeah, and that's actually why he sold it to me. He's like, man, I want to see this truck really nice and done right. I know you'll do it. So he ended up selling it to me.
I guess you debuted that truck at Dino's, didn't you?
Yeah, I took it to Dino's. Yeah.
I remember sitting there at Chris's booth at MTI.
Yeah.
So I guess the main project after you sold Lolita was what'd you say, a 62 you're working on?
Yes, it's 62.
So did you have that in the plans before you let Lolita go, or was that I sold it, now I got to find a new toy?
That was in the plans. I wanted to do another 62.
Is that what your first build was? You said another 62.
No, I had a 67. My first
Okay.
10 was a 67.
So what made you go with the 62 this time?
I liked it, the Grinch, but the
But it
Grinch
was a
was the step
62?
side. This was a 64.
Okay. Same basic body style.
Same, yeah, just the front windshield basically. But
Yeah.
it was a step side, so I wanted to do a fleet side. And I
Well,
had intentions on. I was like, okay, we done a 67 unibody. No, 80 a 79 unibody. Let's do a 62 unibody. But then I changed my mind.
not do the unibody?
Yeah, because eventually I'm gonna sell it. Sometimes those customs they don't bring as much. So you gotta kind of be smart a little bit too.
So what's your plans with this? Or are you keeping some of it under wraps?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it on the wraps until I debut it at SEMA. But I mean, basically, Acme chassis doing a 2414. We actually had a custom wheel made by Raceline. And
Okay.
it's actually called the Holly.
Wow.
Yeah, so we putting that wheel on the truck.
Famous now.
So I actually posted that wheel on my page.
I saw that.
Yeah, but that'll be going on the truck. The only difference is this wheel, my wheel, it'll have the covered lug nuts and the spinner. And the other wheel, the production wheel won't have covered lug nuts.
Okay. So I guess Alamo's doing this one again, and Chris is doing it.
Chris, MTI, they're both gonna do it. Yeah.
So do you let these shops pick any of the colors or mods and stuff, or do you have a set list of it has to be X, Y, and Z when we do this?
Usually I pick my own colors, pretty much on every truck I pick the colors. Me and Alamo, we kind of go back and forth sometimes, but on this one, Robert, he chose the color. He found the color. I liked it, and I was like, okay, cool.
But now when it comes to some of the crazy mods and stuff, is that your brainstorming, or is that you and Robert together, or you and Chris together?
Me and Robert together. On the interior Lolita, I pretty much let Chris go loose on that one. I just told him kind of how, where I wanted my gauge and the colors I wanted. And I told him, you just do what you do on that one.
Now, with this new build, though, how long have you been working on it? Because if you said it's going to be done by SEMA, so you still have several months to work on it. But
actually, we haven't even touched it.
You're collecting parts?
Yeah, well, actually, the truck is at Acme Chassis right now. They're finishing up on the frame. So after LST, it's going to go to Roberts. So the frame is done on it, but I mean, now that Robert is just doing custom work, it'll go pretty quick. Yeah. Because we already got a plan on what we're going to do or whatever.
So I guess this is a point you're just collecting parts, making sure everything's there.
Getting parts and getting stuff set up. So once he gets it, I mean, we already got the paint. Like I say, the frame is done. All the materials for paint. Yeah, rear's been narrowed already. So it'll pretty much go pretty quick.
That's kind of like me. Like we're collecting parts. I won't even tear mine apart till probably March, and then we'll wait till April to even probably mess with the suspension. But
Is it going to SEMA?
yeah,
Yeah.
still trying to work all that out. But that's the plans. But it's being built in Vegas, so
Yeah.
I'm actually flying out, and he's got me doing the grunt work. I'm the one underneath it on a wire wheel, cleaning the bottom of the body off. I'm going to be that guy. So any grunt work that he don't want to do, but I want to have hands on it.
Yeah.
So what do you do full time? Do you just play with trucks full time?
No, I'm actually a operations manager at a hazardous waste plant.
Okay. That actually sounds scary.
I've been there, shucks, going on about 27 years.
Okay.
So I've been there for a while.
So they let you off to go all these shows and everything?
Yeah, I got like 30 days PTO. So, I mean, I got plenty of time.
Well, what's the plans on this 62 when you get it done?
I mean, this one, we probably going to hit the show scene pretty hard. I mean, I plan on going more places than I took Lolita. I mean,
Really?
we went to Triple Crown, we went to SEMA, we went to Dino's, we did a bunch of shows. But this one, I think I'm gonna go a little further with this one.
Yeah, because you had Lolita quite a few places.
Yeah,
What have you picked a name for this one yet?
Caroline.
Caroline?
Yeah, Caroline.
Where'd that name come from?
I just came up with it.
I didn't know if it matched something that was, tied to the family or something, or.
No, I mean, I was just looking for older names for that genre of that, like in the 60s or whatever, and Caroline was a name from back then.
Yeah. Have a Gertrude.
Yeah, it had a Claudette, I mean, it was a bunch of different names. Yeah.
That's always a fun part, trying to pick a name, because if you don't have a name for it, it don't have that recognition behind it.
Yeah, you got to have a name. Like I say, my first truck, I didn't have a name, and I mean that was probably the most modified truck I've ever done. But a lot of people probably didn't even see it, and I mean that was a pretty. I mean, it was way before its time. You think of a C 20 years ago, had an LS, had Heath Moore done the interior.
Okay.
Had a complete custom interior, custom dash. I mean, chrome. We had a full frame on it. I mean, chrome suspension. I mean, it was a lot done in that truck.
But back then, I guess people were still doing these trucks and stuff more than they were the C10s.
Yeah, and I mean, you had a lot of mini trucks even back then. You had a lot of mini trucks. You had a lot of like the 2000 model trucks. You didn't really have any hardly C10s out there. It was more of like 2000 model trucks and mini trucks. It wasn't
That's when
hardly
you could
C10s at all.
You could buy a C10 for $1,000 too,
Yeah,
probably.
easy. I think I paid like $1,500 for the truck when I got it.
Now you can't buy a rusted door for that price.
No, not even close. I bought Caroline. Man, it was probably quadruple that price. But I mean, it was a good solid truck. But it wasn't no $1,500 C10s no more.
Are you having to do a lot of, I guess, metal work to bring it back? Which I guess
No,
other than the
this
body
was
mods.
a solid truck. I mean, it's no really rust on it at all, and that's another reason why we're gonna be able to finish so fast, because it's not really any rust on it.
What do you already have plans for what's next? Do you have something in your mind turning, thinking, okay, when this one's done and I show it a minute, now I've got to do another one?
No, I haven't went that far yet. I may retire after this.
Are you going to keep the black C10 you have now to still drive around?
I mean, that's the plan. I've had quite a few people ask to buy it. I mean, I plan on it. I done a lot of work to it, to get it to where it is right now. So it's like,
yeah.
Do I really want to sell it? Money talks sometimes. So we gonna see.
I'd always liked the Blazers and stuff. When I decided to do one this year, I remember at Triple Crown, Hills had like 4 of them sitting in their booth. My wife's like, "You've already looked at these like 10 times today." I'm like, I want to look at them. I want to see what's what. And after going to Dino's this past year, seeing how many Blazers were there, I'm like, nah, I got to do one.
Yeah.
Because I think a regular C10 almost gets washed into the crowd. So something like you're doing that's a 62 or something like the Blazer, I think it almost stands out a little more.
Yeah, because you got 1,067,72 trucks.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do anything really different that hadn't been done with one of those trucks.
Have you kept up with all your old cover trucks that once they've been sold? Like, do you still talk to the owners or know where they've been?
Mm-hmm.
Where did Lolita go?
Lolita's in Florida.
Okay.
And actually, the Grinch is in Florida. The guy who owns the Grinch knows the guy who owns Lolita.
Okay.
Yeah.
Friends with each other, I guess. What about all your earlier builds?
Charlie Brown is in California. The Orange C10, that was in California. Well, it actually went to Canada first. Then it went to Barrett Jackson like 2 times and sold again. And then it ended back up in California. Last I heard on that one, it was in California.
Is that the first one you did?
No, that was the first C10 that I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the first C10 I did.
So all these vehicles that you've played with though over the years has created you the name of being who you are in the Houston area. I mean, because I guess you pretty much have a dominating name behind yourself when it comes to the show scene, the truck scene in that area, don't you?
I guess.
I mean, because
I mean,
Houston is huge. From someone's an outsider, you
Mhm.
see, you think the truck scene, you think Houston, you think that's one of the meccas of the truck scene. So
Yeah.
I guess it's hard to compete with those unless you step up and do the stuff you're doing.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, because these trucks being built nowadays is crazy.
Now, why is Houston such a hot spot of trucks? Is it the shops that's there, or is it just the culture there?
I think it's a culture. I mean, trucks have always been hot in Texas in general, but Houston is like, crazy for trucks. And then you got a lot of big shops in Texas.
Yeah. No, it seems like a lot of the C10, that kind of stuff, has all migrated towards Phoenix now.
Yeah, you got a lot
There's
of,
so many shops in Phoenix.
like Trey 5 Customs. You got,
GSI,
yeah,
Porterville.
GSI, and what is the new one? Rev B.
Yeah, Rev B, which he used to work for GSI.
Yeah, Scott.
Fat Fender.
I mean, they built some awesome trucks, Fat Fender. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
I recently recorded with Brian Good from Grinder TV, and he lives in Phoenix, and he shoots a lot of stuff for all these shops out there. But like me trying to find, basically C10 parts for the Blazer, didn't realize that there was that many shops that are in the Phoenix area, and it's like, wow, that's. So I guess that's becoming a race with Houston on who can have the better truck world.
Well, Houston gonna always win, but I'm probably biased, but
Biased, yeah. Well, I think the performance truck scene is dominated in Houston right now.
yeah.
I mean, because those guys building the regular cab, regular cab new trucks and stuff with 1,500 horsepower, and it's like, but if you bring one of those trucks to my area, say North Carolina, and you've got the weld wheels and stuff on it, no one here is going to know what that is. But you pull up beside one of those trucks down in your area, you don't want to play with it.
Yeah. You got what's those guys on the gas? I mean, they crazy with these high horsepower trucks now.
Are you doing something crazy horsepower with the new one?
Lolita had an LT4 in it, and I really never ever. I mean, I drove it, but I never
played with it.
Yeah, I dynoed. I think we dynoed at like 600 horsepower, but I mean, at maybe like 4,500 RPM.
Yeah.
And when it started revving up, I'm like, oh, okay, that's enough. We good. So, yeah. But I mean, I'm thinking about doing a supercharger on it. God dang, I can't even think of the name of that.
Because I'm doing an LT1 in the Blazer.
Oh, LT1?
Yeah, I want to do an LT4, but it's like I'll never use that much horsepower. I want to drive this thing and not having traction control or none of that stuff. It's
and
like
I'm gonna do an LT1, but I'm gonna go with, I think, the Whipple supercharger.
Okay. It seems the LT platform is taking over a lot of the LS world right now.
Yeah. I mean, at first it was LS. When I first done my LT4, nobody really had any parts for it. They didn't even make a wiring harness for the 10-speed transmission. I had to find a guy locally who built me a wiring harness for that 10-speed transmission because nobody was building that yet.
Well, like my whole harness is coming from PSI, because they build the full engine and trans with computers and all that stuff. And that, I guess, from your first truck 25 years ago or so, to try to build one then versus now, I guess the parts are just so much more readily available.
Yeah.
Like, could you duplicate that first truck easier now, you think?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because you can buy anything for a C10 now. And I had an LS1 in it, out of a Corvette. So, But I mean, back then you didn't really have parts for it, but now you can get anything you want.
Well, then you're getting into people like MTI where they just go scan the inside and then print whatever you need. Like they don't even need the vehicles there anymore.
I mean, believe it or not, Chris, he built that interior from start to finish in like 8 days.
And Lolita?
Yep.
Wow.
But I mean, we had to be at SEMA, and it was in his booth, so he got it done. You know, he probably didn't sleep that 8 days, but he got it done.
That was in Chris have a booth there?
Yeah. He had a booth. He was teamed up with another. It was a steerer company.
Okay.
Yeah, but they had a combined booth.
Okay. That's probably the same one he had the C10 that was similar color this past year, wasn't it?
No,
Like
he
a
didn't have
gold and
he didn't have his booth this past year because his booth was on the inside.
Yeah.
But when I was there, but I forgot. Yeah, this was in. I forget.
He had a truck. I know he had a truck that was there. There's another square body.
Yeah,
that was like the gold was like the
yeah,
orange in the
yeah.
middle
It
or
was a guy
whatever.
named Earl.
Okay.
Earl's truck. Yeah, but it was in the stereo booth. But I can't remember what stereo that was. Yeah,
It was one of the.
but that wasn't Chris. He might have had some of his stuff in there though. Yeah.
I mean, but that was I guess his SEMA build. I guess you would
Yeah,
say
that
with
was
that one.
one of his SEMA builds. Yeah, I think he had like 3 or 4 of them that were out there.
That man runs crazy. I don't see how he does half what he does.
Yeah.
The stuff he's doing on his personal build is going to be a game changer on some of that stuff for sure. So
Yeah,
another one of those under wraps.
Yeah, the Blazer that he's building.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen some stuff that it's like, yep, that's going to be a game changer on that one. So.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to see what you do this year. I mean, hopefully you can get you another cover out of this one. So
I hope so. We definitely trying to top Lolita. So
you think with the plans you have and the mods and stuff you have planned, you think it'll outdo Lolita?
I think so. I mean, you learn a little bit from each one on what to do on the next one. So you kind of know, okay, we went here, now we got to go here. So, and with the trucks being built now, I mean, you have to go like pull out all the stops nowadays just to even compete. So
it's one of the reasons I'm leaving mine patina this year. I've been semi anti patina for so long, but it's like, I've never done one. It's like, let's do one that I don't have to worry about if it gets messed up, scratch, chipped from driving. But then if I paint it, it has to go to that level, which means everything else has to go up that next level.
Once you put that shiny paint on it, then
we're doing shiny clear, but it's going to be on top of the patinas.
Yeah.
On top of some of the rust.
Like this one, I think we're gonna do the underneath, just like the top of the truck.
Wasn't Lolita done like that?
Ground. Yeah, but we didn't put like any panels. This one we're gonna have like panels and all that type of stuff.
Oh, to smooth it out.
Yeah, we're gonna smooth it all out and stuff like that. Because, like I say, the trucks that are being built nowadays, that's how they're being built.
Well, I guess a lot of people don't realize though, when you go to a show to set up and you have to set it up on mirrors and stuff, that's a lot of work at a show. You're not just showing up and parking.
Yeah. I mean, you got to get there, spend 3 hours just setting up, and then when it's time to go, you got to spend 3 hours taking it down.
So that's a whole nother day worth of travel.
Yeah. And I mean, just think if you actually driving this truck places, the time that you got to spend cleaning it when you get it there and get it off the ground. And I mean, I do like to drive my trucks, so.
Now, I was kind of shocked when Victor did those photos and you were, downtown Houston like that. I was like, wow, you just actually got it out and drove it. That was cool being downtown, nobody around.
Yeah, we almost got a ticket, but hey, it worked.
What were they giving you a ticket for? Blocking the road?
Yeah, we had blocked off the middle of the street and parked in the middle of the street downtown, So they, we know we weren't supposed to do that, but they was pretty cool.
You didn't tell the cop, do you not know who I am?
I don't think he really cared.
Well, I hate ain't gonna, run into you this, up here, which this will actually come out after LST. I hate ain't gonna run into you then, but I'll have to keep an eye out for the new one at SEMA this year. Now to know what booth it's gonna be in, I'll definitely have to catch up with you then.
Yeah, for sure.
So tell people how they find you online to keep up with the stuff you build and stuff you're involved with.
My Instagram is Ricky Hollyboy, and I've been starting to post pictures of the new build. I'll post here and there of the new build and things that we're putting on it and stuff like that.
But I guess you'll keep the final product under wraps until it's sitting
Yeah,
in
I
the booth.
won't post colors or mods, but I'll post, the regular build process and stuff like that. Anytime I get new parts and stuff, I post that, for the sponsors and stuff like that. But I'll
Yeah.
I'll keep it updated on what's going on with it.
So you're actually in the booth. I guess that's Central Hall is where they usually set up.
Yeah, Hot Rod Alley, yeah, Central Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to keep an eye out for that for sure. Well, I won't keep you, man. I know we've been trying to play tag on this some between everybody's schedules and work and weather and that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. Well, good catching up with you, man. We'll have to keep an eye out on this new build.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me.
All right, man.